Welcome back, folks, to WP-Tonic webinar special. It's me and Spencer again, and we're doing this webinar on Friday, February the 12th at 10:30 a.m. It's part of a series of webinars we're going to be doing on every second Friday of the month at the same time, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully you'll be able to sign up and join us live, where you'll be able to ask us any questions that you might have about marketing automation. In this particular webinar, we're going to be, and probably in the next couple webinars, we're going to be dealing about how you use automation, marketing automation with a learning management system like Lifter LMS or LearnDash. So that's enough from me. I'm going to throw it over to the star of the webinar, Spencer Forum. The star. Over to you, Spencer.
Okay, good. Well, hey, thanks, John, for having me on again. And hello, everybody. Today, it's going to be really short and sweet. We found this format as kind of a lunchtime format, so I'm not going to be super formal. But what I want to do is reveal in these webinars some of the higher level tactics and techniques that you would get from me if we had a personal paid consultation. And one of the things that comes up very often, it's very popular, is how to sell access to your coursework. There are currently two primary LMS systems out there. Now, there are certainly more. And when you're using a plugin like WP-Fusion, just about any content can be offered as far as organizing pages or posts into a course. But for the true LMSs, it's LearnDash and Lifter LMS. And the differences between them are kind of grayed over today. Their business models are different. LearnDash, you buy the plugin and get the accessories free. Lifter, you get for free and you buy the accessories. We know both of the founders, although our friends Chris and Thomas run Lifter. I do kind of go to the runner to Lifter for anybody who's curious about learning management, because it's just the free and easy way to get into it. And today's secret, which I'm going to go to a slideshow in a second, is going to be how to actually use the free WooCommerce plugin, along with a couple other plugins that, again, we use in our stack, to sell a course access with the extra bonus of the things that come along with doing it this way, which is registering and logging somebody in, tagging people's behaviors so you know what they bought, and automating the things that follow. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there'll be enough here that you'll actually be able to execute based on what you see here in the next couple minutes. And if you have questions, you can type in and John will ask me, and we can stop at any time and answer your questions. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. John, I think you have to enable me for screen sharing.
I always forget. I apologize. There we go.
Don't worry about it. Let me know when it's ready. Okay, let's do this. And I'm kind of informal with the slides here, so I'm going to show, you'll see like the slides coming up. By the way, John, does this show us in Zoom on the right side when I'm sharing the screen or no?
Yes.
Are we, you see us in the upper right corner?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to eliminate that then so that we can, okay. So today's slideshow is, hello, the free webinar, how to use WooCommerce to sell Lifter LMS and LearnDash coursework. If you haven't met me before, I'm sorry. I wish you had. I'm Spencer Foreman, and for, well, more than the last decade, I've been a leading expert in the WordPress and marketing automation fields, and I've helped thousands of people create profitable online membership sites and more. But I really focus exclusively now on the stack of plugins that are available in WordPress when put together properly by somebody with the knowledge, gives you a powerful solution, but with the benefit of 100% ownership, control, and freedom, which we were just talking about today in the WP-Tonic show, is one of the things you lose when you go to a closed platform. Whereas here, you can build essentially your own custom platform, own it, control it, have the freedom to do whatever you want with it. Two main pains are the reason for today's webinar. Almost everybody that I consult with for free or money has either the shiny ball syndrome or they have created a Frankenstein monster. The shiny ball syndrome we all have as entrepreneurs. So many exciting things that you can plug into your website. Just add them all. Why not? But when you do, you inevitably have sewn together a monster. And typically the other problem is you've gotten good advice that's a couple years out of date, and you've put together one or more plugins that sort of kills the entire setup. and you just don't know any better. So one of my goals in 2021 and beyond, through John and I working together, is to make sure you all know how simple it can be by using less and being very selective. Now, your modern online business, you should think about like Lego blocks or IKEA furniture instead of like hand coding or carving a wagon wheel out of wood from scratch. You use modular components connected with this universal method I'm sharing with you. No customization is required. So this stack works essentially just like those two stores. You go to Lego, you can buy any blocks today. They'll work with Legos from 50 years ago. You go to IKEA, have some great meatballs for lunch when we all get back to doing that. And anything you buy there will work in your house when you have other IKEA furniture. To build a membership site with learning management or a custom checkout experience, similarly easy. As long as you follow this method, you will get satisfaction. At the end of today's webinar, I'll give you a link so you can get a free copy of what I'm demonstrating to try it yourself. Here is what this looks like visually. Our entire universe or world is WordPress, where you've got a couple key components I'm going to share today that work together. And then we glue them to your favorite CRM, which is essentially the marketing tool you'll use for automations. This could be an internal plugin like Fluent CRM. It could be an external service like ActiveCampaign, Drip, Infusionsoft, Salesforce, and so forth. But essentially what happens with your user base on WordPress gets synchronized to their contact profile on the CRM. You can then automate follow-ups either through direct interaction or through emails. And then you tend to want to put people through a custom either checkout or sales or follow-up experience using LaunchFlows so that essentially somebody gets this unique journey that is personal to them and avoids them wasting time, while at the same time gives you all the data you need about what each individual is doing, desiring, purchasing, and so forth. Now, we don't code, we don't design. Although I used to teach that for the first decade of WordPress, those days are long gone. Just like you don't change the oil on your Tesla. So don't be spending time in this day and age reinventing things that we've already perfected. Instead, spend your time on learning these techniques I'm going to show you and just getting on with building great customer relationships for your own business, or as an agent doing it for your clients so they can do the same. The typical stack looks something like this. Your mileage may vary. You can plug and play different things, but you've got, of course, WordPress, a free theme, which could be something like Buddy Boss. But if you don't otherwise have it, use a free theme like Astra, because the real thing that does all the design work and the mechanicals is now the page builder, an Elementor, a Divi, Beaver Builder, Gutenberg. We definitely today want to focus on the Transactional Engine, which is the free plugin called WooCommerce. And that can work with any gateway if you're charging money. PayPal, Stripe, even the old-fashioned ones if you want. The idea is you can sell or give away anything, but WooCommerce provides these magical built-in features that we don't have to go elsewhere to find. LaunchFlows, I'll show you a little bit today, will allow you to create this custom journey for onboarding, for registering, for selling people and upselling, downsells, and more. WP-Fusion is a plugin we recommend to everybody, either the free or paid version, so that you can keep track of a person's journey through your site. And unlike Google Analytics, where you just have anonymous, a visitor visited your site and did this, with WP-Fusion, you not only can track the specific person, but you can change the path of their journey as they're going through the site based upon conditions that you want to put in place. A CRM is how you essentially do your automation and keep track of your contacts. A contact is the marketing automation word for a user. So somebody who is being kept in a capacity as a member of your site, we want to put their information into your external CRM or your internal CRM, like these two. And by the way, there's 50 other choices, so that we can make sure that the next step that they get from us is something we intend. And then finally, we're going to talk about these two LearnDash and Lifter LMSs, where you can set up the onboarding to courses in a different way than they normally offer. Okay, so a couple key things, and then we're going to go to the actual live site. And John, stop me at any time because I'm going a little faster. LaunchFlows allows you to program any product in WooCommerce, which, if you didn't know this, WooCommerce is not for necessarily offering a big shop. It's a way to sell things once or multiple times to people. It does not have to even show a shop or a cart or a product page. With LaunchFlows, we can take the individual products and make them represent something you need. In this case, selling access to either a course individually or to a full membership that allows you to access multiple courses. In doing so, we can program what the person will see for their checkout page or their thank you page or the next step that takes them after the purchase to, let's say, the course they bought. And it makes it easier for us to do things like lead magnets, solo checkouts, instant sales pages, upsell, downsell, and so forth. So it extends the power of WooCommerce to do the sales funnel kind of things that it doesn't do otherwise. Likewise, we can use WP-Fusion with either your external CRM like ActiveCampaign or your internal CRM, something like Fluent CRM, to track the user's behavior. But then those tags and fields that we collect about a person's behavior can be used to personalize their journey going forward. Since we know what they bought or know what they clicked or know what they liked, we can show them something different and something that is relevant instead of irrelevant as far as your products and content. This means people get more likely to buy, not go away, and greater satisfaction, right? Okay, and finally, here's our recipe for today. So I'll use this as my jumping off point. We're gonna show you how to use Lifter or LearnDash with WooCommerce, WP-Fusion, LaunchFlows to sell access to a course or an entire membership, not through, and this is important, not through the normal method that they offer inside of Lifter or LearnDash. Both of those plugins have accessories that allow you to sell through them directly. I'm not making any comments on whether or not that's good or bad. I'm simply saying, typically that is not how I do it with a client I'm teaching. Instead, by using the standardized method of selling a product with WooCommerce and then tagging the person, we can then extend the capabilities from that transaction into so many more places versus if we sold inside of the LMS plugin, which, while we could probably get some things out of it, is not as extensible. Does not give me as good of a outcome. So step one, and I'm gonna go through these live. We're gonna create a course, and I have some created, with LearnDash and Lifter that will require, and this is important, enrollment to view. In other words, to protect and sell a course, it typically should be something that is closed to the public and requires enrollment. Next, we're going to create a custom tag in this case, sample CRM, that will be used when somebody buys it to unlock access to this content. So this will be closed unless you have the tag, and the tag will act like a movie theater ticket to give you access to go in and view the course. We will create the product in WooCommerce that's going to sell this tag to somebody, again, with WP-Fusion. So this is going to be like the box office of the movie theater with the simple product. We will give this tag to Lifter and LearnDash, kind of like the person in the old days of the movie theater who would collect your ticket and let you in, the maitre d', let you into the theater. And then finally, we're going to create or show you how you could use a custom checkout page with LaunchFlows to sell this product in a very simple way. And it doesn't have to be fancy, but I'll show you a couple examples so that all you're doing is saying, here's a product, here's where you buy it. You go directly from this clicking one button to I'm in the movie theater and I'm viewing the content of the course. And then finally, I'll demonstrate how you could, if you want, have custom thank you pages and next step links that will take you from the particular, I just bought this course, to seeing the course as well as knowing what other things are relevant. So without further ado, I'm going to have two demo sites. I'm going to have this site here, and then I'm going to also use this site here. And I'll just queue this up so I'm ready to go because these will work in conjunction. Okay, let's talk about the setup. As mentioned, WooCommerce is a free plugin, and all you need to get started with this would be a product. Now, a product can be created as simple as anything, but in WooCommerce, you just go to products and you would add new. And you can do it as a one-time product called a simple product, or you can do it as a subscription product. It doesn't make a difference. You can also make it part of a larger group of products, like a bundle or something. Let's just call this buy course access, okay? And you can name it whatever you want. You can give it the price you want. Maybe we're gonna charge 50 bucks. And this is virtual, so we'll click virtual. And even though it's not downloadable, if you want, you click downloadable. That means that when somebody goes to buy it, if you're not using another plugin, it will automatically complete the transaction. So I've got a $50 one-time product. Now what we want to do is talk about the automation bit. So I'm going to go to the tab for WP-Fusion. And this plugin is available for free if you are not doing the way I'm showing, or the paid if you are. The difference being the free plugin will not allow you to work with these products, but the paid one will. So I recommend you check it out. You can demo it for free. You can try the free one, see how it works out, but I would definitely say this is something that will pay for itself on any membership site. Here, what we want to do, like I mentioned, is we're selling a movie theater ticket. We're selling a tag. This is the thing that's going to be bought when somebody buys this product, and it's going to give access to the course on Lifter or LearnDash. So we can name this whatever we want, but I like to be semantical. So notice where it says purchased. So I like to say what it's doing and what it's for. So in this case, purchased, and then if the product's called Course Access, purchased Course Access. And depending on the CRM I'm using, if it's a dynamic tag CRM, I can create the tag right here on the fly. I like to click publish at this point just so I don't lose my place. So now I get a $50 product. I've given it with WP-Fusion a tag if somebody buys it. At this stage, I can jazz this up a little bit. Let's say I might want to put on, if I want a product image so I can see it in the cart properly. Let's put this guy here. And I can set the parameters for, if I want, where a custom checkout could occur. Now I'm going to take you to the other demo to show you this, but what we can do is say, should this product be sold on its own custom checkout page versus the default one of WooCommerce? Why would I do that? Well, a couple good use cases. If you wanted to, with LaunchFlows, you can make a custom checkout page that has its own URL and that only a particular product or products will be bought if somebody goes to that page. So it's really kind of neat because even if you have an entire store of products, you can just create a page in 2 seconds, give it a URL that makes sense, and then tell the product that you want to be sold there to go to that page to be sold. And that's just as simple as choosing, you know, from your list of checkout pages, which one you want it to be. So for example, let's say I made a custom one called Test Checkout. This product will only be available to be bought from the Test Checkout page when you go to the Test Checkout page directly. The thank you page, likewise, I'll show you in a second how it looks, but when you're done buying, this will automatically take you to a custom thank you page where you can show anything that's important to your buyer. Or you could even take them directly to things like the My Account page of WooCommerce. This means you can, have a dashboard that has custom information about what they bought and really make it easy to orient the customer. And finally, if you want, you can make special buttons using this feature. Let's say I have certain courses, in this case, that I'm going to assign, like the LearnDash course. I can use this short code so that on my global thank you page, if I used one, I can have a button that says, go to the thing you just bought, and it will take you to this particular course here. There's a bunch of other features you can set up, but let me just show you how this looks in practice. So at a basic level, what you end up with something like this. Here is just a basic page, and I can make it fancier, where I've used Elementor, could be Beaver Builder, Divi, and I've just said, buy this course. Well, when I click on this button, it immediately takes me to a custom checkout. Here I made it simple, but I used the tabbed capabilities of Elementor and LaunchFlows to collect the most important things. I need to get the person's email first. That's the only way you can get them to immediately be registered, logged into the site, and be added to your mailing list, your CRM, so you can track their behavior and also do automated follow-ups. So by putting this first and foremost and breaking it up, I make the flow very logical. Next, I'm asking for their payment info. If you can get it because you're asking money, this means that you can now store their information and you never have to ask for it again. Everything else they do can be one-click checkout with LaunchFlows, which is just like Amazon. So watch what happens here. I'm going to place the order, and with this one click, 3 things happen. I complete the purchase of the product that sells them access to the course for $50. I tag them with the tag that lets me know they bought that, and it takes them to a custom thank you page where I can show them not only what they bought using the LaunchFlows widgets, but I can also use that next step link. Remember I showed you how you can say if they bought this product? Well, this takes them to the otherwise locked course. But now the course is open. They can get into it. And let's just review how that happened on the back end of this live site. I had a course here with a product, and the product was called Course Access. And just like I discussed with you guys, I set it up so that LaunchFlows had the custom checkout page, the thank you page, the next step link, and WP-Fusion gave them a tag. The tag in this case was called Can Access Course. I actually had the course here built in Lifter. So when I go to Lifter and I show you this course, I simply use the feature of Lifter that's available when you're using WP-Fusion that lets you give access to enroll in this course when you have a tag. So kind of like the first thing was the box office that sold me the ticket. And this is like the usher or the maitre d' who says, oh, if you have this tag, you're automatically enrolled. So let me slow down and pause here to make sure everybody's on the same page. John, jump in if you got any questions. So what we've accomplished here is that we've made it possible so you can have a really simple custom checkout experience, sells access to a course. But did you notice that I'm registered and logged in as the buyer so that the person is now able, if they want, let me close this up here again, they're able to go and do other things as well. So if I go over back to my main page, I, as the buyer, can also go back to my account area and look at what I've previously bought. And here is what I just bought, right? Here's access to this course. So you can customize this any way you want with Elementor or a plugin that's called the YITH My Account Customizer, so that in addition to the order details, I might have a tab that says My Courses or My Paid Courses, and it just has an icon that I click to go back to the courses. Now, we can get fancier too, because, for example, we might want to sell in a sales funnel method. Here, for example, instead of starting out with the main course, maybe we want to give a teaser. It's a free sample of your course, or it's what we call a tripwire product. We give a sample for a fraction of the cost, 20 bucks. I'm using a supplement product, but imagine this is a sample course. In this case, we can use the power of LaunchFlows plus the things we just did to offer somebody upsells and downsells based upon their journey. And it's all controlled and measured and tracked with tags. So let's click Buy Now. The person is taken to a similar, very streamlined checkout where we get the most important thing, their email. If I had saved their credit card when they buy, watch what'll happen next. In this case, instead of taking them to a thank you page, I'm registering and logging them in, but I'm now offering them an upsell. You bought the sample, but wait, before you go, for just $10 more, why not just get the whole course or whatever? Now, like I mentioned, if they say yes or no, it's one-click checkout. If they say no, thanks, that's fine, no problem. I'll take you on to give you the receipt for the thing you originally bought, which was the sample. Here's your receipt, but I'm gonna now try to downsell you one last try. Okay, you didn't want the upsell, take the downsell instead. And again, one-click checkout. I can be taken on now to the thank you page where, similar to our last experience, it gives you information about what you just bought and also that they can visit their account or their previous orders. We can do cool stuff too. Like, let's say you're struggling with Lifter or LearnDash with their normal course grids, which is, quite frankly, a nightmare to try to get to work well with your page builder. Why bother? Simply make a course grid using your favorite page builder, like Elementor, Divi, whatever. But instead of a course grid, make it a sales experience. So here I'm just listing out, let's say these are juicy fruits. Let's say they're my courses. I just make it look like I want, and I can even do bundles. Maybe I'm going to get 4 courses for 18 bucks or something. And then people can click and add them into the cart because LaunchFlows makes this one-click sort of single checkout possibility. And then you click the button, scroll down, complete the checkout. And we can even do crazy stuff here. Like, let's say you want to allow somebody to do, well, name your price for my charity to get the course, right? Either click a button that says specifically what you want to buy, or give me a number that works, $24.62. It takes them onto the same experience where they can even add in a custom field that goes onto their profile, complete the payment, and so forth. All right, so let's bring it back to show you the difference on the back end. I showed you Lifter. Let's show you in LearnDash how simple it is as well. It's exactly the same, except when we go over to LearnDash, we go into a course and we just have to look in a slightly different area. So if I go into one of these courses, let's go into the editor. Again, it's going to be a closed course, something that is locked up otherwise. But instead of using the normal sales tool of LearnDash, we're going to go down here to link with tag, which is exactly as the thing I just showed you from Lifter. And we make sure that the tag that somebody needs in order to view this is the very same tag that we're selling them inside of the product that we created or create with WooCommerce. Okay, how does this help us at the end? Each person will have a list of all of the tags and all the custom fields that they submit to you. And I'm going to go off of stop sharing. This is relevant because you are building up a dossier, and I use my visuals here. Spence or John or Susie, whoever comes to your site, purchased the product, click this page, started a course. All this information is stored in their user profile, but WP-Fusion will synchronize this to your local CRM or to your remote CRM. So now these can be used to trigger automations. For example, if somebody purchased the sample course, start an email automation in 3 days that says, if they've not bought the full course or the upsell, send them a reminder. Hey, remember when I showed you that sample? Do you want to try to get it now? Or wait 4 days, and if they haven't finished that quiz, put a tag back on the website that puts a banner on the website. Now, I didn't show you this before, but one of the cool things about using this system, if you build your checkout experiences with LaunchFlows and your favorite page builder, WP-Fusion can conditionally show or not show, apply or not apply different things. For example, certain products, if you've already bought them, do not need to be shown to somebody again in your sales funnel. So that makes it possible where you can have an instant upsell where you know, because of the tags somebody has, to offer them this as the upsell versus that as the upsell. Or you can have that grid of products where if they've already bought one of those products, you know, we take that product out and replace it with another one. And even on discounts, you can selectively offer certain people a standing 25% discount simply because they have a tag or simply because they've achieved a certain spot in your sales funnel. Finally, one of the coolest features we added to LaunchFlows this year is it works natively with LearnDash and Lifter. So let's say you're in the middle of a course and it's a starter course. Wouldn't it be cool for you as the author, as the owner of the site, wouldn't it be cool if people who started the course for free get to lesson 3 and guess what they see? They see an upsell. Join the full course now. Click yes or no. That's as simple as just dropping in one of the LaunchFlows widgets for instant upsell, and immediately they're presented with your main product or your no thanks product or whatever we just talked about. As simple as just drag and drop. And if we have time, I'll show you that, but I know we're trying to be fast on the main thing. So to sum it up, when you use these 4 plugins, WooCommerce, free. WP-Fusion, start with the free. I would say go to the personal edition. LaunchFlows, your favorite page builder. You've invested maybe a couple $100, but now you've got a system that works with either Fluent CRM or your outside CRM to do everything and more that you would do on a closed platform like a ClickFunnels or a Kartra or a Kajabi. But instead of being in debt for $300 a month, and instead of being locked into the prison that is their system, you own and control everything. And because you're using WooCommerce, there are literally thousands upon thousands of services and plugins that want to connect to make your life easy. Everything from automated shipping services to, you know, giving dashboard tracking of your memberships through Metoric and so forth. How does that sound?
It sounds fantastic, Spencer. It really, I've got some questions. So I think what you're saying is by tagging is the crucial bit that opens the doors to using a really modern CRM system, either a native one like Fluent CRM or an external one like ActiveCampaign. By using WP-Fusion with LaunchFlows, with Elementor, with your learning management system, you're opening all the possibilities of seeing if a student only finishes half the lessons. Then by using your CRM, internal, external, you can give them a tag. You could say if they don't go above lesson 7, they will get this tag. If they never finish lesson 7, they'll be given this other tag. and by that tag, they're sent 2 different drip email campaigns. We're talking about that type of stuff, aren't we?
Exactly. And I can go back on screen to show, but like even better is it not just has to do with emails anymore, because the CRMs can also talk back from their automations to WordPress. You can affect the next step in what they see on the WordPress site. So for example, let's say they've started a lesson and you know that they need to get to lesson 6 by a certain time, 30 days after they started lesson 1. You can start an automation based upon they began lesson 1. Give them a tag, says started lesson 1. Sends it up to the CRM or on your local Fluent CRM. Timer starts for 30 days. The timer is looking for, did they get the tag that says started lesson 6? If the answer is yes, the automation ends. If the answer is no, send them an email that says, hey, Spence, you should be going a little faster. But you can also send a tag back to WordPress that will turn on a banner on the top of the site. It says, Spence, you should already be on lesson 6 by now. So the neat thing about using these tools together, WP-Fusion synchronizes the plugins to talk to each other with tags about the user's journey and does the same to the CRM if it's remote. LaunchFlows lets you build custom journeys by daisy chaining the WooCommerce and other pages together in a logical way. The LMS gives you the framework of the training stuff.
I think another thing we've got to really emphasize, and I'm basing this on feedback of real clients, Spencer, is they hear, especially on a lot of Facebook forums that I'm a member of, and I'm sure you're a member of the same type of forums, right, is when the word WooCommerce is mentioned, they say, oh, we had a lot of problems. We tried to use that 2 years ago, right, and it was a nightmare to keep maintained, and we don't want to use it. We just want to use some membership plugin that I've never heard of, because, and I'm not being disrespectful, but there's over 30 different membership plugins,
right,
available, commercial, free, all sorts. There's half a dozen that I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend them now because WP-Tonic has adopted your methodology, but they still got this, oh, we don't want to try WooCommerce. How would you reply to what they're saying? We don't want to use WooCommerce.
Right. I mean, that's actually a great thing. I'm glad you brought it up, because one of the benefits of this system, and think of it in terms of, I'm going to use a couple of metaphors as I do, but let me say what the benefit is. You don't need, in almost every case, except for one, Teams, you don't need a membership plugin. Why? Because the features that an old-fashioned membership plugin used to accomplish or provide are all covered now by using this method. For example, onboarding and managing users is done by WooCommerce for free. And I'll talk about why it's no longer this thing that people get worried about. Taking the money, WooCommerce with any gateway, free. Everything in the universe works with WooCommerce because it's the #1 plugin. It's owned by Automatic and authored by Automatic. It literally is the only plugin that everybody can get married to safely. But lastly, protecting content. We just talked about that, whether it's a page or a post or a lesson or a menu item. If somebody has the tag, you show it. If they don't have the tag, you don't. But because this is universal now to your CRM, you get the best of both worlds, right? You can track the user here and in the thing that's used for automation. The fear of WooCommerce is a vintage fear. It's the same kind of thing when people say to me in 2021, oh, WooCommerce or WordPress, I've heard that's not safe. It's getting hacked all the time. I'm like, it's been around 15 years. Of course, if you look at things from 6, 8 years ago, you might hear that. But we're living in a brave new world. WooCommerce powers over 23% of all e-commerce websites. WordPress is across the 40% of all websites in general. There are tens upon thousands of people working on WooCommerce as a plugin alone by contributing open source. Compared to any other e-commerce system, there is nothing better. Plus, it works with all of the best gateways. So Stripe or your authorize.net or God forbid even PayPal. That's what's doing the heavy lifting. But by doing this in a modular system, WooCommerce brings to the plate in a free plugin about 12 to 15 key features: registration, automatic login, custom user profile fields, custom checkout fields, the ability to do the multi-step transactions with LaunchFlows, and so on and so forth. And if you forego that because of some hypothetical hearsay, somebody told me somewhere, somehow, well, good for you. Then go ahead and sell it whatever way you want using the core features of Lifter or LearnDash. But I'll tell you what won't happen if you do it that way. You'll be doing what everybody else is banging their heads doing, is you'll end up having to buy, and this is no fault of Lifter or LearnDash, you're going to have to buy the Uncanny Owl or the Wisdom Labs or the 16 other plugins to accomplish in a roundabout way the same thing that you could do with 4 plugins. And you won't get the automation capability as a result. And furthermore, this is like the last part. I want to point out that by using WooCommerce, you also open up the gate to the second type of automation. Now, WooCommerce with the WP-Fusion and everything I've shown you is amazing for things that will be important later for you to know about a person. So John Denwood bought access to a course. Gosh forbid I don't remember that, because I need to know down the road that he bought it because he was a customer or I want to send him something. But what about things that are just automations at the time of sale? There are dozens of plugins, including If So, or some of the ones from, there's Woo-based products that allow you to automate in the transaction part of WooCommerce based upon things about the user. For example, with If So, which integrates with LaunchFlows. What if I want to sell a different product to people from Chicago versus people from Nevada?
All right, yeah.
Piece of cake. I just use that in the checkout sales funnel, either with my one-step checkout with LaunchFlows or my multi-step, that says, if John logs in, I know his browser says he's coming from Nevada. He sees the Nevada product. Spence sees the Chicago. What if they've got other products already in the cart? What if they've already purchased things earlier in the day? Those fall into a unique category of automation that, if you use this method, allow you to give the user such amazing personalized information. And I didn't even show it here, but you can even use the user profile data. Remember, I logged everybody in immediately. First step, right? WooCommerce LaunchFlows, boom, you're in. Why did I do that? Because if they're registered and logged in, I have access to all of your personal data. Hey, John from Reno, Nevada, here's your custom receipt. Or, hey, Spence, who bought $5,000 worth of stuff, you're now at $5,001, and so I'm going to do something else cool for you. By making sure that they're being registered and logged in at all times, I can track them far better than looking at some Google Analytics, which is just anonymous buyer bought this or blah, 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 or trying to do it remotely in my CRM, which is a waste of energy because it's like, I got to wait till that data gets there and figure out something to do. So I have a capability of local automations, permanent tag automations, 4 or 5 plugins, bulletproof system, cost me a couple $100, maybe $1,000 the whole year. It kicks ass for anybody running any kind of business, and it's scalable all you need. So.
And thanks. I think you've kind of lifted the curtain and give to the listeners and viewers the power, some of the power of this system. Another element that confuses a lot of people when it comes to using WordPress, and they not, even if you're not going to use a native CRM, just dealing with setting up WordPress with a learning management system is email in general. Obviously, if you're using WP-Fusion with external CRM like ActiveCampaign, the email side is being covered. But I say that, you still got, it's not totally, is it? Because you got the email which LearnDash or Lifter LMS sends out, doesn't you? And setting up the system for sending out those email is I wouldn't say intimidating, but I'm going to see how you explain it to people that seek advice from you, because with a SaaS system like Kajabi or some of the other SaaS systems, they include. I am waffling a little bit, but I think it's one of the things that intimidate people when setting up WordPress, doesn't it?
I get where you're going. So let me take from there, because this is how it works out. And it is intimidating, but one of the things that helps people understand the difference between transactional email versus marketing email. Whether you have an internal CRM like Fluent or an external like an ActiveCampaign, marketing emails are those things that encourage people, and in today's world, not to send them 65 drip follow-up educational emails, but encourage people to go somewhere, do something, or tell them something is happening. And in doing so, it's because you need them to progress in your sales funnel, versus transactional emails, which are mechanical reminders of things that either they're buying or they're doing in their LMS. Now, what's interesting is these worlds have merged. So the CRMs can be used for marketing emails, and they can be triggered by the same tags being applied or custom field values existing when somebody does something. So for example, I buy the product, I get enrolled automatically in a course, and I take lesson 1. It's very simple. Go into Lifter or LearnDash, apply a tag when you start lesson 1. This could be transmitted automatically and start an automation that will send an email to Spence. It says blah, 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 blah. Now, could I do it differently? Sure. I could do it natively in Lifter or LearnDash with their own email, or I could use a gamification plugin like GamiPress, but I actually might instead do something that's one of those, other automation plugins like If So and so forth, where again, I have follow-up emails that come from the transaction. So WooCommerce's benefit, one of the things I didn't get to, was it has built-in email engine. The engine is a template system that can work with WordPress. So you can unify the look and feel of all of the emails that come out of WordPress, and you can extend it to do things that you otherwise might have bothered the marketing automation engine to do. So for example, somebody buys a course, I have a template that I add to WooCommerce that's an email that's getting sent 30 days after they start the course. Why is that relevant? Well, because that's the same thing that I otherwise might have had to use my CRM for, but now I can just do it locally. Does it matter? Not really. Here's why. When you use an external an external CRM, they have their own mailing system. So all the emails come from there, will look a certain way and have their header information and so forth. But in WordPress, you already need to have a competent SMTP email service. Most of us use a third-party service like Elastic Email or Mandrill or Amazon SES. If you've already got it set up for your main WordPress site, it's a piece of cake to just add the extra power to send out transactional emails plus some marketing emails plus some things in the middle. So the way it works out for me, it's about 80% handled locally in WordPress, 20% over here. The things I do over here in the CRM are usually the ones that require complex automations, such as, like look to see something happens and then a couple of days and then another thing happens. If it requires more than 1 or 2 steps, I usually handle it at the CRM. If it's simple, I handle it locally in WordPress. And it's very cost efficient, by the way, Jonathan. Amazon SES, which now works with like out of the box using the Fluent CRM SMTP plugin, can cost you like a couple dollars a month to send thousands upon thousands of emails.
Obviously, with the WP-Tonic site, we use SendGrid, but we set all this up for people as part of our service, so they don't have to deal with it. But it's still, my only reflection back is, and it's this, is that, the invoice that's sent out and some of the other key parts, it's dealt with WooCommerce.
Correct.
And there's a couple freely available plugins, and we use one
Yeah,
that
like the
allows
Cadence email customizer.
Yeah, we use the Cadence plugin that now enables you. But then there's if you're using Lifter or LearnDash, they have their own engine, so you have to be aware of that.
Let me make a comment on one point. I didn't say it, but let me be explicit. Lifter and LearnDash were designed and built originally at a time when they, as a plugin, and there's still people who may do this, I'm not sure who they are, only use that plugin. Like literally, WordPress website with either Lifter or LearnDash, done, nothing else except accessories. So they took on all of the jobs of these other plugins. But if you're using our suggested mechanism, you simply disable, turn off, ignore everything except for the learning management. So when we set up our clients with this mechanism, nothing is sold from Lifter or LearnDash, nothing is emailed from Lifter or LearnDash, with few exceptions, which would be sometimes, as I just mentioned, we might use it for the gamification, right? Like Lifter has a nice gamification engine. When you enroll or start a lesson or a quiz or something, it can send you a note right on screen. But all the other follow-up emails that aren't like basic, I handle through my generic transaction. And then finally, you get rid of all the extra tchotchkes, which again, I'm not trying to kill the market here, but there's so many bolt-ons to fix what's hard about making Lifter and LearnDash work as a cohesive unit, that if you stop and just say, wait, I'm just going to use them for the core benefit that they offer, which is making courses with lessons, with quizzes, enrolling users individually as groups. That alone is worth every penny to buy the plugins. And then all the other stuff that goes around selling it and managing it and gamifying it, do that with these other mechanisms. Now you've got every plugin right in its own lane, including the LMS. It's not trying to be a sales engine or a transactional, or it's just trying to be an LMS. And that's where the satisfaction comes in.
So are you saying, because, you know, with Lifter, when you go into the settings, you have a list of about 12 emails it sends out, and you get a little editor, and it's part of the... Are you saying you switch everything off, or it still sends those internal ones that are about, you know, how Lifter works, but the invoicing and all the others, it goes through WooCommerce or through your CRM?
I mean, first of all, anything to do with transactions gets turned off. Let's talk about the progress emails. If you want to track somebody's progress, and I can show you on the screen, but let me just describe it. Somebody has moved from lesson 1 to lesson 2 to lesson 3. Somebody has viewed or taken or completed with the proper score a quiz. If you're using WP-Fusion, guess what? You give them a tag. And if you give them a tag, the tag triggers your CRM to send out the emails. And those emails look and feel like all your other emails because they're coming from the same system. So if you're using WP-Fusion, I turn off all of the progress emails. Gamification, same way. I do like how Lifter can go, hey, congrats, you've enrolled in something course. You could also do that if you want independently using GamiPress or anything else. And so what I ask people to do is divide out the responsibility of what you're trying to accomplish to where it fits best. If you bought a Tesla that has everything you need, just because you had a V8 Chevrolet that you liked doesn't mean you should shove that in the trunk of your Tesla because you missed the days when you used it. Similarly, if you've got a system with tags and WooCommerce and WP-Fusion to send emails based upon things people do, you shouldn't just have the fond memories of how you used to do that in Lifter and LearnDash and keep those features on, because now you get two things competing for what the newer thing does better, right? So I say strip away the things that are already done better, and what you're left with is really the benefit of the LMSs. Creating courses with lessons, with quizzes, with, you know, various degrees of topics and so forth. That is the power of the LMS. All the other features, in my opinion, kill them, and do it is the way I'm suggesting.
I think we'll wrap it up now. I think it's been an excellent insight about how you can use the power of LaunchFlows with Lifter LMS and LearnDash. We'll probably do the same basic introduction next month, but we delve in even a bit into some of the other areas that I
We can
wanted
do
to
something like
ask.
subscriptions or Teams, which, by the way, that'd be a good one. Maybe Teams is the one exception to when you use a membership plugin. And the reason is there are often cases, and we'll talk about it next month. Let's say you're an organization, could be a school or a team, or it could be a corporation like an office. The office manager or the coach or somebody wants to buy the seats for all the people to come take a course, right? I need 50 people in my office to take this course. There's two plugins that let this happen. One is the Wisdom Labs group plugin for LearnDash. The other one is more, I think, suited the Teams for WooCommerce memberships plugin. And what it allows you to do is you have to use the membership plugin to act as the glue, but that allows you to essentially have one person buy an unlimited number of membership logins, and then they can dole them out to the people in the office with one purchase. So we can talk about how that works along with other couple gimmicks.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
But that extends the knowledge, which, by the way, I want to bring back to the original point. Remember how I said it's like Lego blocks or IKEA furniture? If you build the way I'm saying to build, I can 100% guarantee you that whether you come back 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years from now, you can bolt something on or take something out. Versus if you're doing it where the plug-in this or plug-in that is doing those features, you're going to have a Frankenstein monster that you're going to have to sort of kill and rebuild and sew something on. And that's why I'm so adamant. This comes from years of testing. And I think it's the best part about, the stack we've got today is it is modular if you do it right from the start and don't rely on one plugin doing too many things.
Yeah, and just to finish off, listeners and viewers, I'm a great consumer of history. And I was watching, and I know you're going to wonder what this has got to do with what Spencer has just said, but it does actually. I was watching on YouTube about fighter bombers in the Second World War, and the American government wanted an all-purpose fighter interceptor bomber, and it got a number of Boeing and a number of American manufacturers, and they produced prototypes of fighter bombers that could do, because they have said, if only we could have one plane that could do everything, right? So they got these prototypes, either they were dog slow and they couldn't intercept the bombers, or they couldn't maneuver. So when they got into a dogfight, they would just be destroyed by a German fighter, right? What I'm saying is that it was a great idea, but you ended up with a plane that didn't do anything that well. And that's what you end up with a lot of these SaaS platforms. They can do the job, but they don't do anything that well. With WordPress and a modular system, you're getting the best of breed, and you're just choosing the best. And then with something like WP-Fusion, you're making sure that they can communicate with one another. So you end up with the best system, not just a Swiss Army knife that can just around about do things. Would you agree with that, Spencer?
Yeah, because it's a great metaphor. I'm a pilot myself and a big World War II fan. So you're right. Like even the P-51 Mustang, which helped win the war, originally had an Allison engine in it, which was underpowered. It wasn't until they figured out they had to shove the Spitfire's Merlin engine in it that became long enough, fast enough, high enough to do the job. Similarly, the best thing about WordPress is our ecosystem came about as a potluck dinner. Everybody can make a plugin for any reason and a theme for any reason. So there's a lot of plugins that are long in the tooth. And even though they provide, as I say, for some people, the all-in-one bucket answer, that's the fighter bomber, like try to do it all thing. It doesn't do them all well. And that's why there's all these bolt-on tchotchkes and third-party accessories to fix all of these things. Now, we know personally, Chris, he's our family member here on WP-Tonic, and Thomas, and, Justin Fairman at LearnDash. The point is not that there's anything wrong. These are amazing products. They have to provide this long-in-the-tooth legacy capability. But just because you have a 50-in-1 tool or Swiss Army knife doesn't mean it's any less valuable if somebody comes and tells you, use one of the tools and it's the best thing in the world. And that's what I'm saying. Use the LMSs for the one best thing they do, and use this other technique, which is also best in class at what it does. So now you've got a composite. And one of my features in this ecosystem is being an educator, a trainer, a facilitator, a consultant. This comes with 30,000 plus clients and students of testing every day and being the author or working with the authors to make sure that their products just do those things. And that's where we're at. It's really exciting that you don't have to code and you don't have to design. You can literally just, hey, get some free advice from Spence and snap this on that. Go to John's team and they'll do it for you. But the point is, you don't have to reinvent the wagon wheel. And please, I beg of you, stop being penny wise and dollar foolish and hanging on to your wooden wagon wheel from the Wild West and trying to stick it on your Tesla. Just accept that those days are over and take a picture of it, put it on the dashboard, but use the Tesla, because that's what we're saying. Cost of a Tesla in WordPress today is a couple $100 to $1,000 a year, which if you have any kind of business would pay for itself in a fraction of the time. And you own it and control it.
I think that's a great ending. We'll see you next month where we have another great free webinar, and we're peeling the curtains away about making your membership site really free, powerful, and what you're looking for. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye, guys.